It was probably one of the lowest and most awful times of my life. What's up guys, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I'm gonna be doing something a little different. As you guys have probably already seen from the title, yes, I'm going to be talking about my coronavirus experience. So in one of my last videos, I shared with you guys that I took it upon myself to get an antibodies testing for coronavirus, and I've finally got my results back. To be honest, I've actually had them for quite a while now, about 20 days now, and I decided to go ahead and record this video for you. So let's take it all the way back to January when I was actually sick with coronavirus. I had been feeling pretty sick for about a week, and honestly, when I first started feeling sick, I thought I was just having I thought I just had a cold or the flu, nothing super serious. The day I decided to go to the ER, I was barely making it up the stairs. When I would get to the top of the stairs, I was dizzy, I was out of breath, I couldn't catch my breath. Like, I thought I was seriously gonna pass out. I remember having to sit down for a few minutes and just regain all the strength that I possibly could to get on with my day. When I got to the ER, I just told them all the symptoms that I was feeling and that I was extremely sick. I went in to the back where all the ER beds are at, and I hung out back there. I got some fluids, I got medicine for my nausea. I don't know, I can't remember. I think they gave me something else, but I honestly can't remember. I ended up going home with 3 different prescriptions. Yeah, they tested me for the flu, that came back negative. They tested me for pneumonia, that came back negative. They also did chest x-rays, and then they did a full blood work panel on me as well too. They noticed that from my chest x-ray, it looks like I had developed bronchitis, and that I just had something going on in my upper respiratory system. By the end of me visiting the ER, they basically told me that I had bronchitis and an upper respiratory infection. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll just take the 3 meds that they gave me, chill out home for a little while longer until I start feeling until I feel 100%. And I basically put myself in a quarantine situation because I felt that bad to where I did not want to get anybody else sick, even though at the time my son was showing signs of the virus as well too. We tried to stay at the house as much as we possibly could, and we tried to avoid people as much as we possibly could because this sickness seriously hit me so hard. So when coronavirus kind of came about, everything started happening overseas, and then it slowly made its way to the US, and more information was being released. I kept thinking to myself that I wonder if I had coronavirus back in January, because my symptoms, like I said, there was a cough, shortness of breath. I had absolutely no energy. I felt like somebody was sitting on my chest and would not get the fuck off. I had almost every symptom that they came out with on that list. I had almost every single symptom. So I kept thinking to myself, I wonder if this could possibly have been what I had. Yes, they told me they thought I had bronchitis and an upper respiratory infection, but they weren't really pinpointing everything. They just basically said well, we think that you have this going on. And that was that. And obviously there was no testing then when I went to the hospital, so they couldn't actually test me for the virus. As time went on and they started offering this antibody test, I made the decision to get a test because I was very, very curious. I went and took a test, and it was super simple. If you guys are curious as to if you have it, if you're building immunity to it and shedding the virus, or if you've already had it and you have antibodies, please go and get a test. So when I went in, the nurse simply just came into the room, did a nose swab, which was for if I had the virus at at that very moment. And then I had blood work drawn for the last 2 tests, which the second test was if you were shedding the virus but building immunity, and then the last test was if you don't have the virus at all but you have antibodies for the virus. So, and then I answered a few different questions, one being like, when did these symptoms start happening? How are you feeling now? Just basic questions. So after I got all my blood work done, my nose swab done, I left. The nurse had told me that it would be probably less than a week of me waiting to get my test results back. And so when Tuesday came, I got my results, and sure enough, I had coronavirus in January. When the nurse told me my test results, I started laughing, and it wasn't like a, oh my gosh, that's hilarious laugh. It was like, ha, yeah, makes sense. Everything that I felt then is exactly what people are experiencing now, is exactly what the CDC and all these other resources are putting out as far as information goes. Completely makes sense. When I told her that I thought I had probably had it just based off of like me evaluating myself, she was extremely surprised to hear that I was sick back in January. But she had also mentioned that they had seen a lot of cases like that these people that were coming in and getting tested for it were actually sick like months ago. So I think she mentioned like all the way back until like November. So that was really interesting to hear that. I also shared a lot of different information with her. This information was completely voluntary. She did not ask me specific questions for me to in order for me to tell her this information. I ended up telling her like my living situation, how many people were in my household, and then I also told her that I was high risk. So as an individual who has an underlying health condition being heart disease, when all the information came out, it showed that I was at high risk for possibly having complications from the virus itself. So I had told her that I was considered high risk because, to be honest, I didn't know exactly what information I could tell her that could be relevant to the profiles that they essentially put together on the patients that do test positive for coronavirus, that do test positive for antibodies. So I just completely gave her all the information that I could, that I thought that could possibly help in this situation. And so anyways, after she took all my information down, I ended up asking her if it would be a good idea to get my family antibody testing as well too. And she of course said it was up to me. I have not made appointments to get my family antibody testing. I've thought about it, but my thinking is like the fact that my family was around me as much as they were while I was sick, they probably too had the virus in some sort of way, whether they were asymptomatic, had minor symptoms, or had drastic, extreme symptoms like I did. If you guys can hear my kids playing and screaming, sorry. I've seriously sat down to film this video probably more than a dozen times, and I have had no luck until now. And even when I tell them to be quiet, they're still screaming and playing upstairs, but that's kids for you. So I mean, I can't get mad at that. At least they're being nice to each other, I'm hoping. I don't know. So where did I leave off? Now that I know that I've had coronavirus, to be honest, I don't know if I think in a way it's kind of like has calmed my anxiety from this virus in general. Not that me having antibodies doesn't mean I won't get it again. I know now that my body, if for some reason does contract again, it has a very good fighting chance that it'll be able to fight off the virus again, or at least I hope. At least that's what I'm telling myself. The nurse did tell me on the phone that even though I show that I have antibodies, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have immunity. They're still trying to like figure out what antibodies to this virus means. So yeah, now as far as looking back, it's crazy to think that I did have it, but everything makes sense now. I haven't really noticed any change in my health since having coronavirus, except I do have this like weird dry cough that doesn't seem to want to go away. If I'm being honest, I have never felt that sick before, or at least I haven't felt that sick in a really, really long time. It is no joke. Coronavirus is definitely serious. I am so grateful for my body being able to fight the virus and beat the virus. My body has gone through a lot of shit, if I'm being honest, over the course of my 30 years, and coronavirus and quarantine has definitely shown me not to take things for granted. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that coronavirus has also been around for probably so much longer than what they're thinking. And I hope that with all this new information that's coming out about coronavirus, and we're able to kind of get back to what our new normal will be. And because I definitely miss a lot of different things. I just wanted to make this video to kind of share my experience with you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.